I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you and having some interesting conversations. But I want to talk about this existential crisis that we're in and what each of us as Rotarians can do. So, we're going to briefly look at the climate crisis and what Rotary is doing, and then look at what you can do and have a chance to discuss it in a breakout session and as a larger group. We'll end up with Carl Sagan's thoughts on our home, the little blue dot, as seen from space. You're all probably very aware of the climate crisis, especially through actions your club may be taking or through your network and personal interests. So I'll very quickly review the core issues and focus on where Rotary is at right now. So we're putting more than 152 million tons of man-made global warming pollution into our atmosphere every day. The facts are not in dispute. Every kind of climate-related issue is on the rise. We see them in almost every aspect of our lives right now. And the results are obvious: severe storms, flooding, fires, droughts, glacial melt, tidal rise, ocean acidification, changes in global currents and in the jet stream, and critical existential events. Based on the average temperatures, the planet's been on a roller coaster ride for the last 10,000 years. It's worth considering that with the extreme heating over the last century, there may be one specific existential threat that may turn out to be greater for the human race, likely sooner rather than later. All of this and much more is happening now, impacting millions and certain to impact millions more in the next century. But it isn't simply meeting the Paris Accord. The crisis is like an overflowing tub. We have to do more than just turn off the faucets. That's the net zero that the Paris Accord talks about. We must address mitigation, aggressively going after the crisis as it arises. Adaptation, finding ways to live with a shifting environment. But we must also empty the tub. The current unsustainable CO2 levels at 470 parts per million has to get below 300 parts per million. That means restoration, bringing down CO2 levels through land and ocean sinks, through natural sequestration. So we have to do all three at the same time. Clearly, we need to change, and change is possible. We have the resources and the know-how: solar, wind, nuclear, and many other solutions that may not be recognizable or invented yet. And we're beginning to listen to nature on how to restore the planet by sequestering carbon through better management of our forests and replenishing our farmlands and coastlands. The Paris Accord is now at full strength, with every nation agreeing to phase down greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by mid-century. The good news is that in the United States, 70% of US voters are fully in support of moving to 100% renewable electricity. The bad news that's come out just recently is that countries are failing to meet the Paris Accord targets. Keeping below 1.5 Celsius was the target, and the idea was by 2030 that we would accomplish 45% of that. The current estimate for 2030 is a reduction of 0.5%. We seem to be off by a great deal. But people around the world are demanding change. People, and I want to really emphasize, it's the people that are demanding change, and we need to get out all the way up to the governments. They're marching, they're demonstrating, they're making demands at the ballot box, they're taking action. As Rotarians, we know that those existing at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs are the most impacted. These are the people we serve every day around the world. For them and for our families and communities, we need to act. And Rotary has joined the growing voices with a new area of focus, protecting the environment. The policy statement is powerful and comprehensive. It has three goals: preserving our environment, confronting the climate crisis, and addressing environmental inequalities. So let me briefly read the actual words of the policy statement. The Rotary Foundation enables Rotary members to protect, preserve, and conserve the environment by protecting and restoring land, coastal, marine, and freshwater resources. 2, enhancing the capacity of communities and local governments to support natural resource management and conservation. 3, supporting agroecology and sustainable agriculture, fishing, and aquaculture practices to improve ecological health. 4, addressing the cause of climate change and climate disruption and supporting solutions that reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. 5, strengthening the resilience of ecosystems and communities affected by climate change and climate disruption. 6, supporting education to promote behaviors that protect the environment. 7, advocating for the sustainable consumption of products and an environmentally sound management of bioproducts to build a more resource-efficient economy. And 8, addressing environmental justice and environmental public health concerns. It's a powerful, powerful set of statements with details underneath each one. It's worth going to rcatnow.com and looking at the actual policy statement or going on to the RI website. So many people, including some Rotarians, are concerned that addressing the climate crisis is political. Well, Holger Knack, RI president, points out, whenever we don't want to put things on the table, we say it's political. The best example is Rotary's new 7th area of focus, the environment. There are many people saying we shouldn't talk about climate change because that is political. In my view, it is definitely not political. It is a fact, which is why it is important. If things are obviously wrong, then we have to say so. So we need to take action. What does that look like? Based on this new area of focus, you must understand that you are powerful. Rotary is powerful. It's recognized, it's trusted, because you can be counted on to take action. And you can do it in 2 important ways. First, through advocacy. Review the results of your community's clean energy plan. And if there isn't one, help build it. And take that action to support the county plan. And then go beyond that. And second, take on climate projects with community partners, RI and other clubs, the business community and specific companies, local and state governments, universities and academics, and other NGOs. Rotary is trusted by all these entities. We have the ability to create partnerships in almost any such situation. Please recognize your club's unique position and consider how to use it. So here's an example of advocacy from the Rotary Club of San Luis Obispo. The club reviewed the local and county clean energy plan and results and partnered to address shortfalls. And the club members have supported California SB 100 zero carbon energy plan by 2045. And who knows, but they may have the impact on the country through Citizens Climate Lobby or the Environmental Defense Fund. These are the kind of things that we need to do to make a huge difference. It's not just doing the projects, it's actually advocating for the environment. And that means taking action that pushes our elected officials to take action. And the San Mateo Club is demonstrating exactly what the power of Rotary can accomplish. Rick Rabin and the action team have pulled together disparate organizations to bring clean energy to underserved groups and individual homeowners. There are lots of organizations. I think they've got 9 that they're pulling together. And if you listen to the community service presentation this morning, the example of redoing that building, you can understand how many different organizations Rotary is able to bring together in order to do something, to make a difference. This is the kind of thing that uses the power and the acceptance of Rotary in our communities. And there are Rotary organizations that support you. Through SRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, we're expanding membership while continuing to focus on key system-wide projects. And RCAT is building club infrastructure to focus on community projects and share successes with other clubs. Working together, we support our environment and confront the climate crisis. So I would ask you to look at the data and ideas from our Rotary partner, Project Drawdown. It's a coalition of scientists, researchers, and I hope many of you probably know about this, and advisors from all over the world with the goal of providing 100 solutions to reverse global warming. Buy the Drawdown book, download the free Drawdown review to help direct the club's actions in the community. Drawdown has just come out with a series of videos that are very helpful in order to be able to support this effort. And there are plenty of projects out there. Here are just a few. You can do any one of the many, many projects that Project Drawdown identifies. But let me give you just an example, one example, and that's EV Ride Drive. So if you look at this example, it's important because electric CO2 emissions are almost nil versus gas, hybrid, and hybrid plug-ins, which is amazing. So it's not just the little dark blue is the creation and demolition of the car, and the rest of it is the emissions during the period of use. And you can see that electric is very low, and even hybrid plug-ins have produced quite a bit of emissions. So how would a project like that work? Partner with other Rotary clubs and district Rotaractors, arrange an EV sales organization like Tesla or GM or Ford. GM is pushing really hard right now to get acceptance of their plan for 2025, or VW, or just depend on EV owners. They love to tell their story. Get support from local government based on the Clean Energy Plan, and include other environmental groups. It's fun, and it's not hard to put together. And a recent California study of 4,000 visitors to Ride Drive events showed that an amazing 98% of them say they'll buy or plan to buy electric. Very interesting and very powerful. So going forward, we need to think of what we can do. Consider and state what is your club's key strength. What is it that drives your organization? And what is it that you are known for? Think about climate-related projects that you're either doing or that you might take on. And consider how you might advocate for our environment. So to get us going, what I'd like to do is take a few steps into a breakout session. I would ask you, and Mateo will put you into breakout groups. I'd ask you to take 10 minutes, and I'd like you individually, even though you're from different clubs, I'd like you to individually talk about what you see as the key strengths in your community. What is the thing that your club is known for? What are your strengths as individuals? Perhaps you're well acquainted with the business community. Perhaps you have a whole bunch of NGOs that are represented in your club. Whatever it is that defines the strengths of your club. And then I'd like you to talk about what you think you'd be willing or your club might be willing to advocate in your community. Think in terms of, does your community have a clean energy plan? Are there things that people are doing now that you know are not getting the results that you might want to get? Or you just want to find out? And then last but not least, what projects might you take on in your community that you know would be valuable? Based on any information that you have, pick someone to share with for the group, and we'll have a discussion afterwards. So, Mateo, do I need to get out of this in order for you to set up the groups?
I don't think so. Let me set up the groups and see what happens.
10 minutes.
Okay. I think we have do we have a breakout room? Let me do this. Okay, now you're allowed to unmute yourselves to speak. We're in.
So I think we can consider this a group. Feel free, everybody, to unmute to share. I'm going to post in the chat. I don't know if everybody can see the comments in the chat. It looks like there's a couple of members, Mateo, that we just need to see if we can push them into the session.
Okay, so I got 10 minutes, 48.
Robert, did you want to join a group? I think you need to select, you have to agree to that room. Mike, did you need help joining the group?
Mike needs to, if he's speaking, needs to unmute.
Let me see if I can, I'll ask him to unmute.
It seems that people have left. I'm gonna go check.
Yes, I think they've been assigned. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stay here and see if Robert has any comments.
All right, great.
Oh, nope. Okay.
Let me, where's,
What did you need? I don't want that. No, thank you. Please take it away.
do we not get set into rooms?
You're on mute.
You can pick a room to go to if you want, Mateo. You want me to send you somewhere? You want to go check out a room?
Yeah, send me somewhere. How about
Okay.
6?
6, you got it. There, it should have a message for you to join. Did it send you
Great.
something? Hi, Melvin. They're doing breakouts right now, so I'm going to assign you to a room, okay?
That'll be just fine. I had to leave the Zoom call for a bit because of a problem here.
No problem. Let me send you to room 3. So you just have to accept it. Hey, Danielle. Good to see you. Everybody's in breakout rooms right now. You're on mute. Do you want me to hear?
I got it. Sorry, I was just checking in, saying
Oh,
hello.
yeah, we're doing great. It's got a pretty good turnout. I think there's like 50 people here or so.
Oh, great.
So
Okay.
they have breakouts for another 8 minutes or so, and then we'll all join back as a larger group.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yep.
pop over to another one then.
Sounds good. See you later. Bye. All right, put her down. Now you may go. Are you going to, Katie? Hi, Mary. Did you want to? I put you into a room. They're doing breakouts right now. Hi, Teresa. The groups are doing breakout sessions. I can send you into a room if you want, or you can just hang out here until they come back. What would you like? You're unmuted.
Go ahead. Go ahead and send me into a room if that's okay.
Okay, sure, will do.
Sorry,
Oh, no problem. All right. Where did you
I've
go,
been
though?
surfing.
You've been surfing. Nice. You know what? For some reason, it's not giving me that option. Yeah.
I need to.
We're here. I'm
Boy, that
impressed
was quick.
that your Zoom technical support.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou in the Foster City.
Yes.
You said you're going to work with the What was the initiative you mentioned?
Well, we'll have to work with the city. We'll have to work with city people. We'd have to work with Parks and Recreation Department. We would probably have to work with people in the Forestry Service and somehow, you know, and that I think we'll have to see if that
Right,
works out.
but
I
you're
think
taking
so.
you're saying you're volunteering to take the initiative at your club to get
Yeah.
started on this.
Well, I will be one of the people taking
Right.
the initiative, yeah.
Satya, I want to come back to the whole group. So I would ask someone from each one of the groups to give me an update on what are the key skill areas that you and expertise that you identified, and from an advocating standpoint and from the standpoint of projects, what did you uncover? Who would like to go first?
I have the summary. We kind of took notes for the group. Do you want me to go through the summary or let each person speak for
No,
themselves?
Satya, go for it. Satya.
Okay. So for
Who are you, first of all? I
okay,
know who you are. Who's everybody else?
I'm Satya. I'm from the Rotary Club of San Francisco, commonly known as the #2 club in our district. And we had an interesting discussion, just 5-10 minutes. It's interesting to say that within 5-10 minute conversation, a lot of good ideas have come up. And here are the ideas. The first one, Sylvia Barry from Novato Sunrise, she is saying that one of the strengths of her clubs is that they have a couple of retired forest officers as club members. They're already engaged with a lot of environmental related activities and given their professional backgrounds. They're also working with Marin County Open Space, an organization there. And so Sylvia is proposing that she's going to work with this team to come up with a project and leverage that strength of her membership to launch an environmental related project. That's the first part. The second part, what Sylvia mentioned, was on April 9th, 2022, she's leading an initiative for a district-wide event. And she wants all the 45 members to participate in that big event for the environmental related focus area. Sylvia, you can jump in and add if you want to add any more details to this.
No, it's perfect. Other people have to talk too, so.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Now, Mary Lou from Foster City, she has volunteered to work with some of her members who are interested in the environmental work. To work with the Foster City Parks and Recreation departments to find out what it is that needs to be done within the area and how Foster City Rotary Club can be helpful in that regard. So she is volunteering to take the initiative and start to look for it, a good environmental related project. And the last one we have is Barbara Smith from Portola Valley. And she mentioned that hers is a small club, only 17 members. Most of them are 501c3 club owners or principals in those organizations. And again, I think the same idea has come up that maybe instead of identifying an environmental related project upfront and trying to take a deep dive there, maybe all clubs could do this. Is first, the project itself is to do a sort of a ground level community survey, talking to the community, talking to the government agencies in the local community, identifying what are the geographical communities' needs in the environmental area. And based on those needs, formulating a good project from maybe something that matches from the drawdown list that you mentioned in your speech. Good. That itself might be an exercise. And this could be applicable to all the clubs across all our 45 clubs.
Okay, let's get other people's comments. I think it's important to notice that the fact that you're well situated in the community makes a huge difference. And the other area that comes up over and over again is people need to be educated. Okay, who else? Someone else that wants to talk from their group? Raise a hand.
Hello.
Okay, Cheryl.
Hi.
Sherilyn.
Yes, I'm Sherilyn. This is Jesse.
Right.
We're charter members of the recently formed Rotary Club for Global Action. It's a new kind of type of Rotary club that's just an e-club because we have members from all around the world. So it's an exciting time because I feel like we have a lot of reach in many different parts of the club because we have members internationally. So I actually wanted to take this moment to make a plug. One of the projects that we are working on right now is a global cleanup, and we did one on New Year's Day, and it was very successful. Maybe some of you guys have heard or participated. We're doing another one on Earth Day, which is April 22nd. And we're basically just asking everyone, Rotary clubs, non-Rotarians to get involved and do a local cleanup on Earth Day or the weekend of. And we're collectively going to be joining together by entering this data into an app that Ocean Conservancy uses and reports back, collects the data, and uses it to affect change. Information can go to Congress so that we can use it to make policies.
So Sherilyn, put your email in the chat, and people can contact you so that they can participate in this effort. I think that's great.
I also added all the dates that the Global Action is planning to do their global cleanups in the chat, so people can join their team as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I think it's a good way just to get the conversation started. Again, like John mentioned, it's all about education and just getting people to be more aware.
Good. Okay. Who else wants to talk about their group? Okay, Bob. Unmute yourself.
Yep, here I am. I didn't know if Daniel wanted to do it from the San Francisco Evening Club. I always want to give people opportunity. We had a very engaging group, and we had folks from the San Francisco Evening Club, the Novato Club, the Pacifica Club, and our club in Millbrae. And what I learned from this is that there are 5 things that I learned from this. One is that we as Rotarians do and are empowered to help make change. We heard a great example from the Club of Novato, how a Costco was putting in gas refilling station, and the empowerment of action by leaders of making change to encourage them to put in solar panels and also EV charging stations, in addition to having the gas, right? Because people were migrating in this mix. So that was one really positive outcome from our conversation. Another one is the cleanup activities that have occurred, whether it's in Coyote Point or whether it's restoration. We heard a number of examples of folks doing environmental cleanups. We also heard about reusability, and that's something that we don't often hear about, is reusing what we have at our fingertips that we're able to sustain the environment instead of throwing things in the garbage. What can we potentially do as citizens to reuse that? And then learning from each other. I think one of the things is we have some new Rotarians that were part of our group. So why not be able to share and educate each other? Because you know what? All of us look for ideas, and no idea whether it's from an older member or a younger member. All ideas are welcome. Doesn't mean we're going to use them all, but provide them, because you know what? An idea is really how we change the world. And I think that was the 4th point. And I think the last point is that we're not alone. All of us are grappling with what can we do and leave our imprint on the sustainability of our world for our children and future generations. Thank you.
Good. Wonderful. I really want to emphasize that everyone's talking about hands-on experience. People have hands-on experience. They have community leadership. They are recognized either in the club or because their contact in the community, they are dealing with the leaders. And there's diversification. People feel like They've got lots of different things that they can do, which is a real statement about Rotary. From an advocacy standpoint, people are talking about being aware of the clean energy plan in their community. I've also heard people talking about buildings, about EV chargers, but most of all about making the community and making other Rotarians aware of what it is that's going on. I cannot emphasize that enough. That's really important. So who else wants to make mention of what they heard in their group? Yes, Revati?
Yeah,
Revati?
yeah, my name is Revati. I just have a question. Like cleanup and all, when we do cleanup around the community, how do you share the credit in both areas, like environmental as well as community services? Because many of the community services that I hear about talk about cleanup, in their local area. And so how do you make that division, whether it's, it's both environmental as well as community service?
Well, most clubs have that the environmental activity is within community service. That's the way it's set up, and certainly that's the way it's set up in our district.
Okay.
And seems to work and makes good sense to do it that way, because that's really what we're doing, is taking advantage of our leadership in the community to take action. Someone else had their hand up. Yes, Linda.
I actually would like for Barbara Hug, who is in my club, but she was also in my breakout group, to tell us about what she read that they're doing in Australia. It was a very poignant idea. I think she should tell you about it. Where are you, Barbara?
Barbara, are you there? Maybe she got off. Okay, who else?
Okay, well, let me tell you about it, if I may.
Oh, sure, okay.
She read about in Australia that they've got some kind of a thing, they've created this big netting thing to put on the pipes, so when water flows into the ocean, it's stopping all the trash from going into the ocean. And we just thought that was a pretty great idea. And they could take it out and clean it out and then put the netting back in. There she is. There she is. I see her.
I found it. It's called I Am Solutions LLC, and I'm not sure what that's.
There's also, you should know, as a Rotary group that has been set up in the Netherlands that has come up with that same technology and has now tested it out, and it's been extremely successful. And they are going out to clubs and our district. I think Ron and I have both met with them with looking for support. So it's very powerful, and it deals with plastic, and they get something like 80 or 85% of the garbage that goes through. They capture it and can recycle it. So yes, right.
Question in the chat too, also, if you, after Rose.
Yeah, there's an organization, it's called Sea Huggers on the coast side, and they have a machine where they go out into the sand, and the machine rolls around, and they are able to pick up small plastics. So that's another thing that they're doing. And so they take this machine, take it through the sand picks up some small plastic items, so which is very helpful and keeps it from going into the ocean. So
I want to emphasize that there are hundreds of new technologies that are coming online. There are lots and lots of things, projects that we can do. But I really want to emphasize that there are the two areas. One is advocating, good, bad, or indifferent. You saw the results that I showed you about COP26. The fact that the target for 2030 was 45% reduction, so that we can get to the target for 2050. so that we can get there. If we can't reduce by 2030, we're not going to make it happen by 2050. So 45% was the target. The current reduction estimate by 2030 is 0.5%.
Ron, can you speak to the question about, do you have any resources for reasonable solar panels?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you have any suggestions for reasonable costing solar panels?
Yes, but I want to emphasize there are lots of solutions. Solar is one of the wonderful solutions, and there's lots of technology and lots of costing that will allow you to do it effectively, and people that are doing it. I want to emphasize again that we have to, if we don't do something from a regulatory standpoint, if we don't use our ability to advocate, then any project we do, and no matter how wonderful it is, no matter how much solar we put out there, it's not going to make the difference that we need unless we get regulation. So I want to emphasize that. And as far as suggestions, you should talk to Robert. Robert has some good information on solar systems and cost effectiveness. So I want to go back to the rest of my presentation. And here we have, there's Robert giving his information. That's great. So I want to go back to the presentation, and I want to make sure that I have the sound system on. And it is, there we go. I wish we had more time, maybe an hour or two, or maybe a bunch of hours. Anyway, so again, these are just a few of the projects that are available from something like Project Drawdown. They will list many in the Drawdown review that you can download from their website. In the videos that they're doing now, you'll get all sorts of information. Okay, so if you haven't are unaware of what is happening and what Holger has said about
Dear friends and Rotary,
this is his statement.
ESRAC, the Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group, is holding a video competition to find your idea, your project for supporting our environment. The environment is the 7th area of focus of the Rotary Foundation. Starting July 1st, 2021, you can register environmental projects. And ESRAC is interested in what ideas you have, what projects you have already implemented in your clubs, and what you want to realize. And these actions in your communities and your commitment in the district should be supported. How does this video contest work? Very simple. Take your smartphone and show us in maximum 70 seconds. How do I repair our planet? Very simple and clear. The best 7 videos will be awarded. So join in, it's fun. I'm already interested about all the videos. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you, ESRAC, for this great idea. Thank you.
And here's what it is that
My name
this could
is
look
John
like.
Mathers, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of San Francisco, District 5150, and our Climate Action Team. The project we are highlighting today is called Coastal Sink, a reference to the process of sequestering carbon along coasts and in the oceans. The goal of the project is to restore and expand 10 acres of wetlands in the Bay Area using native plants and other vegetation. The resulting wetlands will help to alleviate inundation resulting from rising ocean levels, as well as provide one of the best sequestration processes available. And the project will provide added natural beauty
to our magnificent Bay Area. To find out more about our project and about the work that we're doing, please go to www.sfrotary.com/xxx. So you understand there are two different ways of doing these 70-second project updates. One is to go to the RCAT database and upload it there along with some basic information. The other is to go to the SRAG challenge, the ifixtheplanet.org. The difference, everything that comes to SRAG will come to us. And everything that comes to us will go to SRAG and be included in the challenge. The difference is that RCAT is setting up an ongoing project so that all of these are sortable, and you can look at all the projects that are being done by type of project. Whereas the SRAG, the challenge is only coming up with the video. So we want to be able to make this a browsable capability, to have hundreds and hundreds of projects that you can look at and see what other clubs are doing so that you can contact them. So we really strongly suggest using the RCAT website to upload your video, and it will go into the challenge anyway. So take that opportunity. It takes about 15 minutes. You go to the project function, you go to the upload, and in 15 minutes, you're done. And you've now got information about the type of project, the location, all the information about the context, and it's available. So please take the opportunity to build agreement and support in your club. Set up a climate action team. Join SRAG as an individual. If you're not a member of SRAG, please join. It's $30 a year. It makes a huge difference for us to have a huge number of members. Right now we're at 1,200. We want to get to 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 this year. So please join SRAG and join RCAT as a network, as a team, so that we know that you're working on it, and upload your projects so that they can be shared across all the network and across all the clubs. And with that in mind, I'd like to leave you with comments from Carl Sagan.
Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
So please, as Rotarians and citizens, take action. Your voice needs to be heard. Your choices need to be clear. Your club needs to take action, as if your world depends on it, because it does. So thank you. And if you have questions, I am open to other questions or comments. But I wanted to make sure that you got that last little piece.
John, I have a question.
Yes.
What's the thought? I heard you say that we could have this under community service. One way we were actually thinking of having it as a board level seat. more of a permanent, because it could impact vocation. It could impact international. It could impact everything, right? You can, if you train kids, it could impact youth. You train kids to be a solar tech or a wind tech instead of going into, you know what I mean? It can cut across everything. So I'm wondering if there's a guidance on best practice in terms of should we make these board level seats as well?
I think having it at board level is very powerful and is appropriate, but not every club is going to want to do that. So for me, it's a transition. You start with community service, in some cases even international, but community service. And if it gets the draw that it deserves in the club, and you get enough people, then it makes sense to make it a board position. But now you're talking about actually impacting the bylaws. It adds a whole bunch more complication. So starting with community service makes good sense as a beginning point.
Thanks.
Who else? Any other questions? Okay. Well, I thank you very, very much for your time and for your attention. And please take the opportunity to go to RCAT now, look at what it is that we're doing, and please upload your projects. It does not take much time, and it makes a huge difference for other people. If you listen in your small group, how many people connected across different clubs about what you're doing? It's really important. The connection is key. So thank you all for participating.